Okay, guys, bit of a quick one here today. Got this old graphics card given because it's tending to overheat, so I'm just thinking it's literally just a thermal paste needing to be resolved and sorted out. So I'm just going to quickly go through how to do this. So initially, you want to flip it round, check to make sure there's nothing connecting this part to the actual fans, and there's 4 screws at the back here you just need to remove. Now what I like to do is when I take them off, I take them off in a cross pattern just to save any sort of tension that can destroy the G.P.U processor. I also like to put the screws kind of where I took them out in sequence. So that's the 4 screws out. Now hopefully it will mean all this lot can come away. Now you just got to take it off carefully because there's going to be a little cable for the fan. There we go. If you can see right here, there's a plug for the fan. I just need to remove it carefully, which is out there. So now it's in 2 parts. The thermal paste is like it's solid. So really you should be using a isopropyl alcohol and some tissue to do this properly, but at the moment I haven't got any alcohol, so I'm just going to try and remove it with the cloth, with some tissue. Also, I really should sort out these thermal pads. These are actually quite sticky still, so just in a case of trying to. Oh, it's actually coming off quite easily, which is a nice touch. So initially, I'm going to clean out the G.P.U, actual processing unit first. I'm trying to do this quite delicately because there's quite a load of small little capacitors and chips down the side. I may have to go get a little toothbrush to get some of these bits off. 1 second. Right, now I picked up this toothbrush. I'm just going to take some of the tissue that's kind of stuck itself to some of the little chips that's on this. It won't hurt to give it a quick dust as well whilst I'm here. Just do this as gently as possible, to be fair. The cleaner it is, the better, the more likely we can actually get decent airflow through. So now we're just going to clean this piece off from here. It wasn't actually as bad as I thought, because the last cleaning I did on any sort of CPU or GPU was a case of it was like concrete. This still had a little bit of flex in it, so I'm just going to try and get what dust though, because I'm not going to completely take it off, because I could take this part off of here and actually get to the fans themselves, which I may still do yet. Depends how clean I can actually make it look. Just try and get as much dust out of the fins as you can. Once that's done, give it a quick blowout. Yep, so it is a little dusty, but other than that, yeah, I think I'm going to have to take this off of here as well, because looking in towards the fan, I don't know if you can see it, but there's the fins down here are actually quite full of dust, quite thick dust, so that will stop a lot of the airflow. So again, got another 4 screws to take off. It doesn't really matter too much how these screws go on, because they are all the same, but I'm going to still put them in sequence. Doesn't really make much difference either if you do this on a cross pattern or not, because there's nothing to squash. Oops. The last one. Trying to do this as well without crushing the plastic cover, which houses the fan. And yeah, if you see there, it is actually quite dusty, so I'm going to go ahead and clean this out with a toothbrush. You could, if you had something like compressed air in a can or one of those little vacuums, you could just blow it out with that, to be fair as well, but as I don't have one of them, toothbrush will have to do. This should increase all airflow and stop any overheating. So there's that, and as I'm here, I'm going to clean out the back of the fans as well. Right, so once I've finished this and got it all clean, I'll come back to you. Right, okay, that's that sorted out. So now it's just a case of putting it all back together. So virtually the reverse of what I've done right now. I've got to line the first set of screw holes up. I might need a better screwdriver. This one. Yeah. I'm just going to do what I normally do as well. Before I tighten up one screw fully, I'm going to line all the other 3 up, well, all 4 up. And then nip them up. Then it'll be a case of putting thermal paste on the G.P.U part, and that should be enough to keep the thermals nice and cool, so the graphics card will actually work properly. These are quite shallow screws, so you need to take a little bit of care sometimes when you're removing separating GPUs, because you can damage the screws quite easily, and then they won't go back together. Right, that's that together. Now, last part, a bit of dust from here, and we need to thermal paste this part of the G.P.U, the part where it's like silver and actually got the name of what it's supposed to be on it. Now with these, you don't need a lot of thermal paste on them because it's only a small die. But clean that off a second. And now ready for the fan to go back on. So before that happens, I'm going to connect this back up first. You got to make sure you do this or the fan won't work again and it will just overheat. And then it's just a case of it flipping over on itself. And then when you flip it over, it should be four little pins where it seats into, where you can then add the final screws back up, and that should be it. That should be fine now. Thermals should be sorted out, and it'll go from something like 79 degrees, which it was doing before, and it will go down to say 54 to 55. Like I say, it wasn't quite thermal throttling, but that was at 79 degrees at idle. So if there'd been any sort of load on it, it'd have started artifacting probably, and then probably crashed the system because it was getting too hot. Might help to actually get these screws back on. Now these screws also have a spring on them, which helps tension the graphics card to the heatsink. Again, we're going back to the the cross pattern, just to help the tension on the die to be even, and it will spread the thermal paste out nicely. And that is literally it. Now this is last screw done, and that's how to re-thermal paste a G.P.U. Now different G.P.Us will have different ways to take off the shroud. Just be careful if you're going to do it yourself. Just observe where the screws are. But generally with AMD and NVIDIA, there's usually 4 screws at the back here. Sometimes there can be a screw to this plate here. And once all of them are removed, just gently remove it. Make sure you don't rag at it, because you can knock capacitors, you can knock the cable for the fan and break that. You can actually even break the fan itself. But other than that, it's relatively a simple thing. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.